everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum as Manchester United lose to Aston Villa at Villa Park, narrowly 2-1 win to Aston Villa. But was it a good overall performance? A lot of us think it was, but why did we fall short and how do we move on from this going forward? We've got some tough fixtures coming up. We've got a lot of injury problems. We've got players out to AFCON. How is Amorim going to find his way through this and get the points that's required? Is Champions League football on the line? Is that a realistic aim? We're going to get into everything, talk about all the players of today, and we want your help. So get your comments in, smash a like on the video. Let's get interactive. I am joined with Kev, Mordzs and Ricky. Ricky,
good evening.
I know you've got some stuff to give us today. I mean, it's Villa, it's United, there's Lindelof, there's Luke Shaw, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And he's already made some wild comments before the show started, so I can't wait to get into that. But Kev, Christmas jumper's on.
Yes.
What else do you want for Christmas apart from United loss?
I wanted 3 points, obviously. I wanted 3 points this evening. It's not happening, so obviously Kev must be on the naughty list, I would say. I've not got what I wanted, but in terms of the performance, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there that are raging and going, oh God, we've lost. Yeah, in context, if you want to analyse it, they've scored 2 absolute worldies. You know, we can look at that and say, how do you stop it? 2 absolute worldies. I honestly think on reflection of the full game, I'd go as far as to say it's probably one of the best 90-minute performances from start to finish under Ruben Amorim. Thought we created chances. If Cunha scores, you know, the header to make it 2-2, as Ricky said before, just off air. Yeah, goals change games, but that could have been a massive moment in the game. It hasn't happened. I can understand the frustration. We've drawn 4-4 at home to Bournemouth, and you look at that. But again, we are just conceding goals. But again, today I thought defensively, not too bad. But when you concede 2 wonder goals, and they were like quality moments in a game, you know, how do you stop something like that? Well, I'm going to be. I think we could have done better on the goals, but they were two really good goals by Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers is just on fire at the moment. He's brilliant right now. I know Ricky had a few complaints about his game, but I think he's doing absolutely fantastic. And Villa are a tough side. That's 10 wins now in a row for them. It's unbelievable. Fair play to them.
And we did have our side decimated. We did. The thing is, for me now, we're losing games. I am frustrated, but I'm becoming sort of numb to it because I just expect us to drop points. We just keep dropping points, and it's so frustrating. But you look at it and you say, could Manchester United have done any better with the team that Amorim had at his disposal today? But then you also look at it and think every week it feels like there's an excuse. Oh, we should have won this game. Oh, we should have done this. But we keep dropping points, and we are playing a bit better, I think. I think the Bournemouth performance, despite conceding the 4 goals, was better. I agree with you. I think overall today we played much better than I thought we were going to, especially with that team. But Mordzs, I'll come to you because you've been quite harsh on Amorim and you know the results, and I think it's understandable why. But could he have done much better with the team he had at his disposal today? Did he coach the team to its maximum performance level?
It's hard to say because football, we say it all the time, like one moment can change a whole football game and then next thing you know you're having a completely different conversation after it. So I think overall there were positives to take from the game. Like Kev said, there were some things where I looked at and I thought, this actually looks a little bit different. We're trying something that we haven't tried all season. Even like formation, I felt like it looked a bit different today in terms of how the players were positioned, especially in that midfield and the defence, having like a more of a back 4 and then kind of one player in front of them. So there were positives that I can take, and it's harsh to really say this is all down to Amorim because, like Kev said as well, 2 great goals. And if you really want to put any mistakes on it, the mistake would more or less come from the individual players, not necessarily what Amorim set up. But I say this all the time, it's a results-based business. Like, you can't, at the end of the season, when we look back at the Villa game, we're not going to think, oh yeah, like we played well though. No, we're going to think, oh, we lost. Like, that's it, we lost. And in 5 years' time, no one's going to remember us playing well. They're going to remember the fact that we lost this game. So we can play well for 38 games in a row. If we lose all of them, no one cares. It doesn't mean
39% win rate.
39% win rate in what? For Amorim? Yeah. See, so it's like, it's not great. And I think for him as well, he's probably going to be super frustrated with himself and the team because he's probably going to be thinking, what more could I really have done? Like the players, are they really giving 100% out there? Could they have done better? Because at the end of the day, everyone's going to look at Amorim and say, this is on you. You're the manager. You've got to coach the wins. But I always say it's a balance though. The manager's obviously got something to say. There's a bit of blame that you can put on the manager, but the players as well. Like everyone's just got to take a bit of responsibility for these kind of games.
Do you know what? It is hard because I am frustrated with the amount of points that we're dropping. I am frustrated with the win percentage. Someone's saying it's a 41% win percentage. I got sent 39%, but it's around that mark, around the 40% mark. But I do feel as if we had a top centre back in today, we had some wing backs that were top level, and
the top centre forward.
Yeah.
And anything else.
A whole new team.
No, but I think the main thing we obviously we do need other positions. We need a midfielder. I think we do probably need another striker. But in today's game, I do think if you have a top class centre back and some proper good wing backs, I think we get the win today. We are playing better. I am seeing some improvements, and this is from someone who's had big question marks about Amorim. Despite the Bournemouth draw, despite losing today, I am seeing improvements in the way we play. Are you seeing that, Ricky?
There's definitely an improvement today. I thought we played well today. But I thought we played very well for an hour. Obviously, with having so many players out, it dilutes your squad, doesn't it? And I thought the starting 11 played really well. And then obviously Martinez came on at half time for Bruno, and I don't think there was any drop off. He came on, and I thought we were still playing really well. But then you get other players having to go off, and then it starts getting a little bit weaker, doesn't it? With no disrespect to the young lads, I was hoping for one of them to come on and score an absolute cracker, and at least he did have a shot, didn't he? It was straight at the keeper, though. But yeah, look, the squad's diluted. I don't think the starting 11 was too bad at all, and I think we matched them toe to toe, and they're a top side. But then when you've got to start making loads of subs, it dropped off.
So do you not think we lost our spark when Bruno went off?
I thought we played equally as well when Bruno went off. We didn't play as well in the last 15 or 20 minutes, but that's because of all the youngsters coming on and one thing and another. The whole team was different really for the last 15 or 20 minutes.
I get that, but I think Bruno's been in that team that long that he's been like the leader, the inspiration, the player that will make things happen. I think because he's been there that long, when he did come off at half-time, it's obviously a bit of a rare thing for him to get injured. I remember like Roy Keane before the game saying, one of his main attributes is the fact that he's always available and that. And I was like, the curse of the commentator there, it's very rare that you see Bruno come off. But from the second half, I get what Ricky's saying there. There wasn't a drop-off, but I did feel that them players kind of went into the shells. And it's almost like, because it's been drilled into them, that Bruno's like the one that's going to make something happen. I was looking for somebody else to kind of step up. I was hoping it was going to be Cunha. On another day, if he scores that equaliser.
He has to score
he has to. We'll keep going on about this. But if he scores that goal, it changes the game. And I did feel like he steps up slightly, but I think there's a lot of them players, when they got the ball, went into the shells a bit, and they were a bit lost because they're probably that used to... It's like being institutionalised, and having Bruno as this figure. It was almost like the likes of Dallo and that were like looking and thinking, well, who's going to be the leader? And that's where you want somebody to step up. And I did feel, I know Ricky probably won't agree, but we did lose that when Bruno went off the pitch. And that's probably a mindset thing, because the players have been that used to Bruno Fernandes digging this team out when the chips are down.
It's a funny old game, though. It's a funny old game. I mean, you might be able to remind me of another. We had one glaring chance in the first half that Sesko should have scored from.
Yeah.
Obviously, we did get a goal in the first half.
I thought that was a very good save, personally.
It was a really good save.
It's a quality save.
It's a really. He's one-on-one with the keeper, and he gets his shot in unhindered by a defender as well. I think he should score, really, but it is a great save. And we do get a goal in that half, but it's nothing to do with creative play, the goal. It's just Dorgu making a tackle and it bounces to Cunha.
It's just pressing high, though, isn't it? Winning the ball back.
So it's a bit of luck, really. And Cunha took it great. But then in the second half, we get a great chance as well. And Cunha it's an even better chance than the one he scored. He's got to score that header. So unless you can remind me of any others, I don't think there was any difference in how many good chances we got, whether Bruno's on the field or not.
Bruno did create that chance for Sesko, though.
Well, even so, we still got, Cunha should have scored that header.
Yeah, true.
I felt like, and I'll use Ricky's line, I'll have to watch it back.
Yeah.
I felt like just watching it, being in the moment, that with Bruno off the pitch, I agree with Kev, I felt like there was a lack of urgency, and I felt like a lot of players were just kind of like looking around, as in, there were certain moments where different players, for example, had the ball. I'll give Dallo, for example, and that pass to Mason Mount is straight on. He should be passing it in straight away. He did it maybe once or twice, but there was so many multiple occasions, and I feel like the players were quite hesitant on the ball.
Because Bruno wasn't there.
I feel like, no. I feel like as a captain, as a leader, he's always like dictating the play. Dictating the play.
Feel there was
and I feel like we're a bit slower.
Yeah.
I do feel that way, but I absolutely agree with you. I think Lisandro Martinez for central defensive midfielder, he was fantastic.
He was class there.
And the amount of times you've had people in the comment section, the United Stand community, that are always saying,
try it.
Give Martinez a try in there, what's the worst that could happen? And then I thought at half time today, I thought, oh, we get to see it. And I knew Ricky was going to love him. I thought the one thing he's doing it is Ricky's famous saying of keep it simple. And it was actually really refreshing because...
It's simple, Kev, but he's seen them
the
short
short
passes
passes
into people's feet in between the gaps and all that, but really hitting it crisp and sharp. And
brilliant passing through the lines.
He looks a better player to me. The game's dead simple.
It might be better suited to him. I don't think we're overreacting to... Obviously, he moved into the back three then, didn't he, when he changed it. So, but he played there. He looked comfortable. He was knocking it about. And obviously, when you... a defender anyway, naturally, you look at the attributes that he could bring to that team in that position, and it's somewhere where we are weak. So, I mean, moving forward, it was a little experiment today, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I would have nothing... next game now against Newcastle, if I've seen him in the starting 11 in that midfield, for some reason, I wouldn't hesitate one bit or look at it and think, oh, we're weak in midfield there. It gives you something, that extra bite in midfield.
His positioning was great as well. Barely ever got caught, was always quick on the heels of the Aston Villa players, pressing them off the ball, putting some good tackles in. I thought it was he was seriously
he's
dictating
really
from that position. Yeah. Would you have him over Ugarte in that position?
Yes.
1,000,000%
Just in front
at
of the
this
back
moment in
forward,
time.
but I don't think Ugarte. A lot of people are giving him a lot of stick. I know he gave the ball away sloppily in the first half, early doors. He did 2 particularly poor passes, and then one long one as well that was no good. But the thing is, people are on his case about it, but don't tell me Casemiro doesn't give 3 or 4 sloppy passes every time he plays. I don't think Ugarte let the side down today. And at the end of the day, we give Villa a right good run for the money, and they've won what they won now, 17 out of 18 games. I don't think you should be slating any of the players for the performances today.
I think Ugarte got maybe a little bit over criticised. He wasn't. Do you know what it is? It's because he's not great on the ball. People will look into that and heavily criticise him. He's already out of favour. It's now 7 starts where we've lost. Them correlations, adding up. When he comes on the pitch, often we concede when he's subbed on. People are just their patience is going with him a little bit. So then when he does do a pass that
I'd like to know
great.
which 7 games he started.
I know, I would as well.
I mean?
I think people are going a bit over the top, but when he does do that pass, because the patience is gone, and in everyone's heads, he's already, Ugarte rubbish. When he does a pass like that, no, not having it.
Is that 7 times this season, or going back?
No, it's his last 7 starts.
Right.
So it's just going back from when he started. It goes from, I think it goes back to April from what I've heard.
Right. And for me, with Ugarte, it's like just staying you know what he's good at and what he's not good at. And what I wouldn't say long distance passing was one of his main attributes. No. So early on in that game, when I seen him try to get the ball down and start spraying passes, I was like, this ain't even your game. You've got Bruno in next year. There's other creative players ahead of you like Mount and Cunha. Let them do that. You just concentrate. He was supposed to have been bought for this player that's going to win the ball back, do the so-called donkey work, and basically then let the other players hold your position. But today, I wouldn't single him out. I think United fans are quick sometimes to try and find a kind of scapegoat, and it's one person's fault, why we've lost this game today. It is a team game. But at the same time, early on in that game, I didn't think he did himself any favours. But I wouldn't single him out and just say it was all Ugarte's fault. I think it's quite harsh to do that.
He came off the pitch and we didn't win the game anyway.
No.
So you can't say it's all Ugarte's fault. But what I will say is, the way we played today with this back 4, and then it looked like it was Ugarte in front of them, and then there's another 4, and then Sesko up top. I don't think that helps Ugarte in any way.
No, I think he's better in a 3-man midfield.
It was kind of a 3-man midfield anyway, but I think him being by himself, I think, for example, if Mainly was in that position, somebody who's a little bit more press resistant, a little bit better on the ball, who can actually pick up the ball from the defence will be a better option, because if Ugarte is the only one in front of the defenders, and let's say Yoro, Aiden, Heaven, Luke Shaw is fizzing the ball into him, let's be honest, Aston Villa, they do their scouting, they do their reports, they know that on the ball he's not the best, and he's going to be picking up the ball from the defenders. They know straight away, press him as hard as you can because his first touch might not be great. He might not be able to find a pass as quickly as other players. So I feel like we didn't try to cover up Ugarte's weaknesses. We kind of played into it and let Aston Villa take advantage of it, and that's how we ended up losing the ball a couple of times. So I think going forward now, it might even be a bit worse because now that we've seen Martinez there, it's like I don't see a point in the game where we're trying to get a goal and Ugarte comes on when we've got Martinez, if I'm being honest. I'd rather put Martinez there.
Martinez can do everything that Ugarte does and he's excellent on the ball.
I think he's one of the best passers in our team, if I'm being honest. I genuinely think Martinez is one of the best passers in our team. And that's whether it's through the lines, whether it's over the top, whether that's short passes here and there, I think Martinez is one of the best passers in our team. And that's why I was saying for a long time when he was injured, that when he gets an opportunity to come in the team, he's going to get his place back in the now he's even got another position that he can play in. I was even talking about as a left-sided centre-back. But now when we're playing with a back four, he can even drop into that CDM role, whether it's by himself or someone next to him. Because like you said it before, it's seen as risky passes for other people, but he does it at the right time. And it's not as risky with him because he gets it right 99% of the time. And it goes straight to the player's feet. Whether or not they have a bad touch, that's up to them. But he gets a pass spot on every single time. So I think, look, as we go forward in the season, we'll see what Amrin's lineup looks like. But I genuinely feel like Martinez can walk into this team.
If he was to play there against Newcastle, who'd play next to him? Would Casemiro come back in? Because I just don't think the dynamics quite the same. Like with
getting that combination
way Martinez
right.
was today, it allowed Ugarte to go a bit further forward. I'm not suggesting that Ugarte's going further forward to create stuff and all that. I'm just saying that he's playing a bit further forward because Martinez was behind him. But surely Ugarte can get back in a bit quicker than Casemiro, can't he? Would you really put Martinez there and have Casemiro in front of him, ahead of him? I don't think so.
I think you put him in
very interesting.
Well, by the sounds of it, Mainu and Bruno might be out for that game, so we'll have to wait and see. Just an update. Actually, let me get your super chats in first because there's so many good ones coming in, and then we'll give the update on Bruno. There's some more quotes coming out from Ruben Amram that I want to get into. There's loads to talk about. We have a super chat in from Siraj saying 45-minute team, fizzled out in the second half, 0 in-game adaptability, weird tactical decision with Ugarte to 10 and Mount as a centre mid, unworthy of Europe, messed up. I did think that was strange when Ugarte was playing further forward than Mount. I found it odd, but I do think it's a tiny bit harsh because if you look at the squad that Amram had to play with today, there wasn't really much there for him to work with, to be honest with you. Ghost James says, Ghost James St. Patrick says, had we won versus Everton/West Ham, this loss would have been okay. Carlo Montana says, how are they third in the league? Long shot FC. Sirimim says, we can't keep buying young players. We suck at developing them. We would have won the game today if we had a world-class centre-forward, left-back, right-back and CDM. So most of the team then. Jaden says, Yoro is costing us games. He needs to learn. I'm going to touch on Yoro in a bit. Don't want to be too harsh on him, but we are going to touch on him. Shahin says, their starting centre-back was the player we let go for free. I don't think Amrin can hide behind not having players. Cullen32 says, I'm worried about Sesko's ability. Jason Garbett says, is Ricky going to pick Shaw or Lindelof as man of the match? Jane Gundu says, looks like 4-3-3 and 4-2-2 out of possession. He needs to stick with this. Alan says, both Aston Villa's goals should have been closed down and that is poor. Kev United says, in my opinion, we were better without Bruno. Martinez is passing good, trying to break from the middle. No long balls and losing the ball. Yusuf says, I think Amram has done nothing to keep him. He says, I just want to win, but he's not. And we're not playing as good as we should either. So he leaves or they buy him at least 3 players this window. Well, just on that, and I'll come back to some of your super chats in a second. Ruben Amram has spoken a little bit about the January window, and he said, what we cannot do is try to do everything in urgency and make mistakes. And he got asked on whether new injuries affect the January plans. He said, I'm not going to get with Jason and Omar saying we need a lot of players because we already have a plan. So he's basically saying they're going to stick to the plan that they have for January, and he didn't really give much more info on that. Whether we get players in or not, we'll have to see. But just on that, Ricky, do you think we missed the players that were missing today?
The performance of the starting 11, let's call it the starting 12 with Martinez getting on at half time, because I thought we were good for a good hour. We were good today, and it was only when it got diluted even further. Obviously, we had inexperienced players on the bench. I thought we played well for a good hour. So I don't think we missed the players that were missing on the park as such, but it diluted the squad. We missed them because the squad was weaker. Whether it was, obviously the players who were missing probably would have started, but that means the players who did start, you've got them to come on off the bench, haven't you? So the squad was diluted, but I don't think we missed them in the actual starting lineup. I thought Dalot played well enough at right wing back. I think Ugarte, look, a lot of people, like I said earlier, a lot of people on his back, but I think he did okay. Ugarte, a couple of sloppy passes, as I said earlier. Don't Casemiro give 2 or 3 sloppy passes away every game? I'm sure he does. And then who else did we have? The front line is a dead interesting one. We probably missed Mbuemo, but I just think Sesko's far off the pace. So it's not really in him. It was Mount really that took Mbuemo's position up, and Cunha was to the left. So I don't think we missed Mbuemo in the position that he plays.
Yeah.
But if he would have played, then I think Cunha would have played more as a 9 and Mount would have played to the left, so it would have strengthened the team, although in his position I thought we covered it perfectly well. And
Mbuemo's not really, the last few games you look, if anything you were like, AFCON's kind of come at maybe the right time for him, because at least he was able to mix that up today. The one main argument you could probably say is Ahmad, maybe as an attacking force, you've missed out on that totally today, but I totally kind of agree with Ricky there in the sense that I don't think we can certainly use it as an excuse, and I don't think we massively missed him in a team
until
performance.
the younger players had to come on the pitch. I don't think we can expect to have played any better than we did, whoever was there.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree. Yeah, I think the quality of the overall team could always be better. I think today, yeah, you can say we played well over, you can say, like 60 minutes or so, but I think in general, like, defensively, I feel like if the lips was in the defence, we would have been a bit stronger in the defence. Even if Maguire might have been there, we might have been a bit stronger. Obviously, we don't know, but I think they're just 2 better defenders than the ones that we have on the pitch. Yeah, I think going forward,
you've got a point about the defenders, but I was really talking about the players that are missing. The players that have just gone missing, if you like.
Maguire and Dillett are missing.
I know, but I thought we were talking about the lads that have just gone off.
I'm talking about everyone who's missing.
Just in general.
Obviously,
but even Mazraoui then. I think he would have done a pretty good job as well.
Mazraoui would have made a difference.
And I think Ahmad and Mbuemo as well. Yeah, we can talk about Mbuemo's form. I completely understand that. I'm not even trying to say he's been playing well recently, but he's still a quality player. And as well, even if a player is out of form, the threat that they still have on the pitch causes another team to set up differently, because they know how good he is, they know what he can do. So if Mbuemo and Ahmad are on the pitch, Aston Villa got to take a couple steps back, because they know that's 2 very, very quick players on the pitch that can cause a lot of problems if they counter-attack. So we've got to take a few yards back just so we don't get counted on. But when you're only, I guess, the fastest players on the pitch are Dorgu and Dalot, it's like, well, they're not going to be the outlets. Sesko's not necessarily going to be the one sprinting up and down, and Cunha drops in deep to get the ball, Mount drops in deep, so they can actually press up a lot higher and pretty much play like a high offside trap for us, because our fastest players are not on the pitch. So I feel like, we did miss Ahmad and Mbuemo, and I think especially Mazraoui in defence.
I agree. I think Aston Villa playing quite a high line that we didn't expose, and I think Mbuemo running in behind would have caused them massive problems. I thought Dalot's crossing was poor, and if Ahmad was there, we would have caused more threat. And I'm sorry, but if Mazraoui was playing instead of Yoro, we probably don't concede them 2 goals. I know you can concede them elsewhere, and I know football's, the butterfly effect, but look,
if Mazraoui would have played, would it have been Yoro who would have been left out? Yoro might have played in the centre.
No, Heaven's been playing in the centre. Yoro never plays in the centre, barely.
Do you think it'd have been like that?
I do. I do. Again, I don't want to go for a young player. I really don't. But Yoro his confidence looks like it's on the floor. And it's a shame that he's having to play through it, because we've got nobody else. But he shouldn't be starting right now. He's not playing very well. And he's costing us in some areas. Other players are as well. I'm not scapegoating Yoro for the loss. It's not his fault. But that first goal, he should be out way quicker. And to do it again on the second goal in a similar position, he's just inexperienced and lack of confidence. And even speaking to, some people, in and around the club, apparently, after that Crystal Palace game, he was really upset with himself. And he's only young. He's 19, 20 years old. And I don't want to go in on him too much, but if you did have a Maguire, a De Ligt, or even, you know, a Mazraoui, ideally Mazraoui, I think he's our best right-sided centre-back, or De Ligt maybe, I think we would have looked stronger there. A bit more experience.
You need that experience to guide them through, don't you? When you're playing Heaven and Euro. And
grass is always greener.
Yeah.
We've let plenty of goals in with them players playing. I'll just leave it at that. We've let plenty of goals in with 10 players playing.
I think two things can be true at the same time, though.
Yeah.
Like, I do think Euro could have done better, but at the same time, we've not had a clean sheet all season.
Not a clean sheet all season.
That's true. That's true.
So it's like I predict we would have conceded whoever played.
They just would have been different goals.
Yeah. Like Aiden Heaven was the reason why we didn't concede earlier in the game anyway. He had 2 very big tackles earlier in the game, which probably could have been goals straight away.
Heaven played well.
Yeah, Aiden Heaven played well. So, yeah, I think Euro definitely could have done better. And I think if this was another period in his career, like even last season, he probably would have done better because I feel like confidence-wise has been a reason why his form's dropped off. But at the same time, we concede regardless. That's just United. That's the whole United way this season.
And you'd like to think that, bloody hell, tactically and from Amorim's point of view, they must have spoke about that, you know, before the game. Rodgers, you know, do not let him get that ball out of his feet and be shooting from anywhere in and around the box. I know it's easier said than done, but if you are being highly critical, it would be you get straight in, touch tight. You know, do not let him turn and shoot, and that's exactly what's happened today twice. You know, there's them little details that you have to look at, and you think, surely they would have discussed that before the game.
I was about to say that. Surely it begs the question, and
it's not the first time he's done it, is it? He's done it twice today, and in previous games as well. It's like a reoccurring kind of thing. Oh, brilliant, fantastic!
This is what I was thinking. I was thinking in game, and it's happened twice. I'm like, is Amorim or the coaching staff not said to the players that are in the area that Morgan Rodgers is going to be, do not give him any space, do not let him get a shot off. And I know you can say that, and sometimes in the game things change, but I thought Euro in that moment, it kind of looked like he didn't know Morgan Rodgers' capability, even though he would have known.
I think he was scared, and I'll tell you why I think he was scared, because there was a game earlier this season, maybe not early, but in the season where he's gone in, I think it was a Crystal Palace game, where he's kind of challenged a player in the box. Somebody remember what I'm talking about. He's challenged a player in the box and he gave away a penalty. And I think he might have had that in the back of his mind, like, Morgan Rodgers I think he was in the box when he took the shot, and he thought, let me not go down, let me not go to the floor, let me just try and stay on my feet and block it.
Because he must be talking about the second goal, though. The first goal was terrible, and Rodgers has the ball's been drifted out towards the touchline. It's he even had half a chance of going out. He's running towards the touchline, and Rodgers is chasing after the ball. So Rodgers has got his back to our goal and he's facing the ball, which is running towards the touchline. So as a defender, you've got to understand that you've got to get close to that man. You've got to get as close as you can so that when he gets it, he doesn't turn. When you're playing football and you've got a man chasing behind you, you can hear him. You can hear his footsteps and his breath, if you like. You can just hear him, and you just know there's a man on your back. And the likelihood is that if you're just there, Rodgers probably turns round and passes it to the left back. Yeah. You know what I mean? He just knows that there's nobody on him, so he can turn. So when he turns, you're dead, finished.
Yeah.
Great finish.
So something to learn from.
Yeah.
Something to learn from.
It is something to learn from. And do you know what? He's going to probably have to play through it, because De Ligt and Maguire, just no updates on when or whether they're going to be back anytime soon. So, and speaking of injury concerns as well, Bruno Fernandes. So Amorim has said this on Bruno Fernandes' injury. It is a soft tissue, so it is going to take a while. We have to cope. We have to find solutions. So Bruno might be out for a while, which is a first in his Manchester United career. He doesn't miss games. Nope. He's like a robot. People have said he's made out of steel. But he looks like he was having a bit of an issue with his hamstring today. Previously, in the season, he's had a bit of an issue with his hamstring. Soft tissue injury, it's not looking good. And that is a big kind of shockwave through the club, because we've relied on this player for many, many years to always be there. So how do we think this is going to affect the team and maybe the lineup as well? Interesting to see how the lineup changes. Very interesting. But I think we'd be better with. Having said that, today Ugarte. I was about to say, I think we'd be better with two players who stay in that number 6 role. But Ugarte didn't seem to do that when Martinez came on. They didn't really play next to each other, did they? Ugarte played a bit further forward, didn't he? Yeah. I'd like to see two number 60s playing next to each other,
Casemiro and Ugarte or Martinez would do me, and I think we'd be fine. I really do, because we've still got the attacking players. Obviously, we haven't got Armand, we haven't got Mbuemo, but Mainu should be fit soon, shouldn't he?
Well, Amrim's just said this. He's just said this in his press conference. On the Newcastle game, I will see what we are going to do. I think Kobe Mainu is out, Bruno is out. So
Kobe may just have a chance of being on the bench or something.
It's mad, isn't it? He's waited all this time for a chance because Amrim's kept saying it's Bruno's position, it's Bruno's position. And now Bruno's injured, which he never is. And I wish he wasn't, because I think we're going to miss him massively. Mainu's got an opportunity and he's injured, or a little bit injured. So
I was going to say, if ever there was a time where, sounds harsh saying a bit of a blessing in disguise, because you don't want to see a player get injured, and Bruno never is injured, but it's the one area that on fan forums we've discussed and talked about the midfield, and like you say, this is the one opportunity now that you've got for it. And looking at it, it's quite sad for Mainu there, because Amarim's been quite open, hasn't he, by saying that he's basically up against Bruno, fighting for that spot in midfield, and now that little sort of that door's open and the opportunity's there. If he's going to be injured, if Mainu's injured as well, I mean, that's just it's bad timing, isn't it, more than anything? But I'm sure a lot of us would have liked to see a Mainu, Ugarte, Mainu, Casemiro, whoever it's going to be, and the combination you play, and moving, long term, looking forward. Would it be that bad? We can see if the midfield functions better. I thought there was situations today where I thought Ugarte was left isolated, and that's when Bruno was on the pitch, pressing left, left back, right back, and there was a few moments where Ugarte, he's obviously disciplined in the role that he plays, and he will stick to that. Bruno is the complete opposite of that. We know what he's like, and don't get me wrong, the numbers he puts in, the stats, it's all great, but when you're leaving a man isolated in the midfield who's disciplined, he's very, very erratic, isn't he, Bruno? I certainly wouldn't put disciplined as, one of his attributes. So it might be refreshing to see the middle of the park sort of revolutionised and a bit of a change. There. Well, just two players, that are disciplined, they know the jobs. And we've got enough now, this system, when you've got the number 10s in there, they're your creative players. Why should it be Bruno? I've always preferred him as a number 10, not a midfielder.
I completely get the points you're coming back from, but just to play devil's advocate, when Bruno did do his interview with Rio Ferdinand, I don't know if anyone's watched it. I watched it while I was getting ready the other day. But he said that the reason he's playing in midfield and what the manager wants from him is to feed the number 10s and set them off. Can Casemiro and Ugarte feed the number 10s? I think Lisandro Martinez can. Today, he's passing through the lines with crisp.
It's a team game. If the manager said that to him, we need a new manager.
Well, he has said that. He said he
do not need a particular individual player to pass the ball to number 10s. I don't agree, You've got to move the ball around the field and get the ball to him. Anybody can pass the ball to him whenever that space opens up and you've got an opportunity. There was no shortage of passes from Martinez into the number 10s today, was there, when he came on? No shortage at all.
I was going to say he was the feeder.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm just repeating what Bruno said in his
interview
here.
Feeding, though. He's just passing a ball forward and into the number 10s in front of the
look for the number 10s.
He said he needs to start the play in the number 8, feed through the lines to the number 10s, and then push up into the number 10 when he's in position to overload. That's what he said. So that's what if you are in Amarim's system, and this isn't from me, this is from what Bruno said, what Amarim wants from his midfielders. In Amarim's system, if you're playing a midfield 2 with Casemiro and Ugarte, you're expecting one of them players to do that role of feeding the number 10s and pushing up into the number 10. Is Ugarte good enough on the ball to do that? No. Is Casemiro got the pace to do that? No. Not really. So I think it makes more sense to play Leacher in that position if he is going to replace a Bruno or a Kobe. If Bruno's out, it's got to be Kobe. If Kobe's out as well, I think Martinez passing is the best. Martinez
and Mainu would be the ideal legs-wise.
What you just said, though, is it's about then joining up and getting in the attack. I don't see Leacher doing that either, do you? Nobody's perfect for this role, are they? If your role is to get in the middle of the field, feed your number 10s, and then your number 10s have got to play, and what have you got to do? Get to the edge of the box or something to support the attack? I don't see Martinez doing that.
He might change.
So to answer the manager, if that's what he's saying, what we're going to do now? Well, we're going to have Martinez being the one who passes it and a different one who then joins in the attack, what are we going to do?
No idea.
He might change
might
it,
not know.
knowing who's out. But what another point that you would bring up is when Casemiro and Ugarte have played together in the past, like you said, they've done a pretty good job. And Casemiro used to play really well with Fred, who I think is a similar type of attributes to Ugarte. If anything, I think Fred's actually better on the ball going forward, but similar type of attributes. So they might work well together, and it might be the combination, especially when Bruno's midfield, Newcastle's midfield is very physical, very demanding.
It's going to be a right tough game. It'd be another game that if we lose it, we could lose it whoever's playing. So it's a funny old game.
Is it me? But was Bruno out for the last time we played Newcastle?
He missed
at Old Trafford.
He missed a game against Newcastle, didn't he? I think
it was a league.
I think it was a League Cup game, was it not? They beat us 3-0. I think.
I do remember that one. Yeah.
Was it the same game that Zirkzee got subbed, and it was really
I
not
think
nice.
It might well have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
you're gonna have to have your midfield
and
spot
I
on
think
for that.
previously he's missed a game against Aston Villa in the past. It's funny how it works out, isn't it?
You just mentioned Zirkzee there. Would you give Zirkzee a start in place of Sesko? I think I would.
I thought Zirkzee was better than Sesko when he came on today, but he's much for muchness.
Yeah.
You still need a focal point of that team, and
Kev's a Zirkzee hater. I'm joking.
I'm not a Zirkzee hater.
I'm
Don't say that. The comments will go wild. I'll be getting death threats and everything tonight in the inbox. I still think you need. I don't think you can be too harsh on Sesko at this moment in time. He had an injury. He had a little run where he scored, and then he was out the team. He's back in. I thought, in fairness to him, in the first half today, he was making them runs, and when he was actually fed, if we're going to talk about feeding and all that, feed the Sesko, that he actually. It was a great save from Martinez.
It was.
He will be labelled with that, and there'll be snobbery United fans probably going, well, if that was Erling Haaland, he would have scored that. All right, I know he's nowhere near Haaland kind of levels or anything. It was a great save from Martinez, but the thing that I did like, he's making the runs. He's getting in them positions. For me, if you play Zirkzee has already, when he signed for United, said, I'm not a goal scorer, I'm not a 9, I'm not a 10. He doesn't know what he is. So he's not going to be the focal point of that team. Sesko today in the first half, I've seen little glimpses where I was like, we've got something to work with here. And if the two number 10s, like Cunha's playing the ball into him, he will make them runs. And we said during the game, didn't we, when we were watching it, he just needs a goal. Goals change confidence for a striker. Once you get on that goal trail, hopefully that will kickstart his kind of career at Manchester United, I'd say.
I think you've sold me there, Kev. Keep him in the team.
Yeah, good salesman here, aren't they?
What about you, Mods?
I don't know. If you're going to say, right, let's, for argument's sake, against Newcastle now, leave Sesko out. I'm not sure what that says to Sesko as well, because he's trying to get back into the team. And to bring Zirkzee in ahead of him as this focal point of the team, I don't see it.
Yeah, I think, I kind of agree. I just think there's so many players in our team that we constantly make the excuse for as they're just not ready yet. There's about half the team we look at every single week, we say...
Half the team's not ready.
It's like, Zirkzee's not ready. Not Zirkzee, Sesko's not ready yet. Yoro's not ready yet. Aiden Heaven's not ready yet. Ugarte's not ready yet. Mainy's not ready yet. Senny, it's like so many young players in the team, Dorgu as well. We have the excuse, which is it's a valid excuse. It's not a bad excuse, it's a valid excuse, but there's just so many players that we look at and it's like, maybe next season they'll be ready, or in 2 seasons or 3 seasons they'll be ready. And realistically, every single game we play, if these guys don't have a great game, we're just going to keep saying the same things over and over and over again. So I don't think Zirkzee is even the best player in the world, but I think he's just more ready than Sesko is right now. I think we're just going to I'm more confident that he'll give me a good performance right now than I think Sesko is. And that doesn't mean Sesko has to get dropped and never start another game. But I just feel like if we're going to play next week, Friday, against Newcastle, who am I starting? I'm starting Zirkzee.
It was like the chance in the first half where he took the heavy touch that went round Martinez. It's just little fine details like that, where if his first touch is right and he managed to knock it round. It's easy to say now in hindsight, but I don't see Zirkzee as the focal point being that direct and doing that running basically that Sesko did today.
Well, what are you, team Sesko to start or team Zirkzee to start? Let's run a poll on it for the last bit of the show.
A poll going.
If Mainoo's fit, what about, because Cunha sometimes plays like a false 9 for us, doesn't he? Because I just think we're struggling at number 9, me. That's why I said give Zirkzee a run out. What about if Mainoo's fit, what about Mount and Mainoo as the 2 10s and Cunha as the false
I don't
9?
have an issue with that. One thing I would have liked to have seen, and now with Cunha actually getting this run because Mbumo's gone, I'm hoping he can step up, would have been the fact of, can he nail down, because this is where he played his best football for Wolves, and I thought he played, again, we'll go back to the chance, he should have scored, took his goal very well, but the headed chance he should have scored, but I do look and think this is his opportunity now to try and nail down one of the 10 roles, but I'd have no issue if we have to play him as the false 9 and you play Mainoo in as a 10. It's an option, isn't it?
Yeah, the only thing I worry about with Zirkzee playing from the start with no Mbumo or Ahmad is lack of pace in that area. But
What, so Sesko's going to answer you that? Is he?
I think he's more mobile than Zirkzee is, but Zirkzee's got other attributes that I think make you want to give him a go. He keeps the ball well, he keeps it ticking. I think he does get in good position sometimes, just not in the box, just before the box.
He's more of a build-up player, isn't he? I just think, we brought this striker in for all this money. We brought in Højlund. He wasn't the answer. He can't stop scoring now for Napoli. It's like, and now we brought in Sesko, and it seems to be the same sort of issues, but today, if you want to take little, small sort of victories and whatever, you kind of look at it. I did think that there was a few little moments where, but if you want to be highly critical, listen, you could say, well, he should be sticking that in the back of the net. But I thought it was a great save from Martinez. He's a top keeper. He's come out, closed the angle down. Sesko has kept it low, hard. From his point, he's probably thought he scored the minute he's left his foot.
It was like Sod's Law today. The chance that fell to Sesko, if that had dropped to Cunha, he probably would have buried it. But the header that Cunha missed, Sesko
would have scored.
I really do think people criticising Sesko for not scoring the one that Martinez saved. I think he's harsh. I thought it was a great save. But the one I was annoyed about was where he took that trampoline touch.
Yeah,
he literally has just a little touch on that, he's got an open net. To put it in the back of the net. I thought that was really poor from a professional footballer. You can't be having a touch like that. But again, confidence, like you say. The poll's up, so let us know what you think. We've got some super chats coming in. We have Alan saying, Mainoo injuries a smokescreen. He's clearly going. What do we all think? Injured or smokescreen?
Smokescreen.
I must say, if I'm being 100% honest, when I heard today that he was injured and it was a foot injury, I thought, sounds a bit, what I mean? From Monday night, all
a calf injury.
A calf injury. The shenanigans with his brother and that, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Amorim has reined that in this week and said, you are not part of the squad. Whether there's disciplinary actions, whatever's going on behind the scenes, I'm sure, like Ricky says, smoke screens or whatever,
I would be
it's smoke and
surprised
mirrors.
if something completely different's happened. I'm not saying it has. Maybe I shouldn't say it because I'm just making it up. But I saw Beth on the build-up show saying, he's injured just when he was going to get a start. Just when he was going to get a start. I don't think he was going to get a start. The manager has regularly said that Ugarte is the competitor for Casemiro. It's Casemiro that's missing, not Bruno. I wasn't surprised one bit that Ugarte was starting, whether Mainoo was there or not. Right? And then obviously, I believe Mainoo would make a good 10, but we've still got Mount and Cunha who are playing regularly in them roles. I wasn't surprised one bit that he wasn't in the team. Now, I was surprised he wasn't in the squad.
That's what I was going to say. It's a different question.
Mainoo himself, this is just a possibility. Maybe they got together yesterday and he might have been expecting to play and he might have said, I'm sorry, son, you're still not in the lineup. You're on the bench. And he might have threw his rattle out the pram or...
You don't think it's anything to do with the T-shirt?
It could be. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying what I'm saying is the case. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Mainoo might have been expecting to play and he's been, pulled to one side, look, son, you're on the bench again.
Yeah, and it wasn't a great look for the club. Publicity-wise, it's an absolute nightmare, and we were kind of talking before saying, did he know, and without actually asking and speaking to him, you'd never get 100% answer, but go on, Beth.
I'm not saying it, but I'm sorry. Who knows?
Just don't know, do it.
Political answer,
Good
who
answer.
knows?
Good answer.
I'm not bothered about it, personally, but if put me on a lie detector test, you get the answer. Miko Man 987 says, Beth, when you say we played slower in the second half because of Bruno, you are right. But this is a good thing. We were patient on the ball, keep him out of the team, and we'll be better in possession. Ricky, what have you been typing overnight? Give it to Mike, he says, AFCON and now injuries. This is where all the inexplicable drop points in the last 2 months is going to kill us. Dante says, if Delit had played in Yora's position, we could have won. Kai could have. Kai says, Dorgu and Dallo should swap wings. Don't think so, personally. I thought Dorgu started poor, but then he put a few good crosses in, to be fair to him. Lee Berman says, question for Ricky, Shaw or Lindelof today?
Shaw, but only just.
Dicencio says, top 5 is not gone, 21 games left, grew up with the top mentality and I'll never understand giving up when you're not even halfway through. Love that super chat. Keel says, what game plan is Bruno dictating exactly? I don't understand what we are trying to do. Amorim wants, whether he does it the way that you think he should do it, Amorim wants him to dictate the play from that position. Whether he does that or not, it's up to interpretation. God, I'm nearly ringing emergency services on here. 1 second.
It's not that bad, Beth.
Icky says, I'm guessing you guys didn't watch Leacher at Ajax playing CDM with Frankie for a season. Yusuf says, I think Amorim has done nothing. Oh, I've done that one. Thank you everyone for your super chats that are coming in. I think I've got them all in there. Keep putting them in and we will come to them. We've still got a little bit of the show left and we want to get your involvement in. Who starts at number 9 against Newcastle? Keep voting in that poll and we'll get the results out. We've heard from our panel. You have Sesko, you have Zirkzee, I'd go either way. I'll go with Sesko just to kind of give him a little bit of confidence, but it could go either way. Get your comments in and let us know what you're thinking. Just something I wanted to bring in, and this is what Golby just tweeted, and I want to ask you guys about it. The amount of fans being positive about losing today is incredible. 41% win ratio halfway through the season. So that's our win ratio this season. Halfway through the season, it's not about today, it's about the whole vision. So what do you guys think of that? Do you think Mark's right in the sense of the standards have dropped? We've got a 41% win percentage, we should be doing better. Why are we applauding it for a loss?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I get that, 100%, but it depends, are you glass half full or half empty? There's a guy at my work the other week when we finished on the Friday, Friday, I said to him, another working day done, and his response to me was, another day closer to death.
Oh, gosh.
That's exactly, I was like, come on, Nigel. Come on,
Nigel, bloody heck, way to kill the mood.
Like, Jesus, it's Friday afternoon, just finished work.
Keep an eye on him,
week till Christmas, come on, Nigel.
It just depends what kind of thing you are, doesn't it? It's, but yeah, I've got standards.
That's glass half empty if you've ever
Bloody hell.
Glass empty, isn't it, really?
But I said at the start.
Standards are...
Yeah, I said at the start of the
I
show,
know they've been lowered.
Standards need to, as a fan base, like the players and the manager, they should obviously have the highest standards for themselves as professionals, but as a fan base, like, I don't know, like I'm never happy with a loss. I'm never happy. Like the first game of the season we played Arsenal and I thought, you know what? This is way better than I saw last season. We finished 15th. There's definitely improvements. It's the first game of the season. Arsenal are title contender. You know what? We'll deal with it. We'll move on. But with 16 games in now, we still can't be at the point where we're still happy with losing but playing well. I'm sorry, like, I can't. Me personally,
I'm never going to be happy with losing.
But I'm basing off obviously what the tweet said, innit? People are being happy about it. I'm like, you can't be happy with a loss at this point in the season. Like I said, maybe first game you can maybe be happy with it, but. But halfway through the season now, like
we're trying to analyse.
We're just discussing how we played, aren't we? I'm not saying I'm happy with getting beat. I'm not.
I don't think he's referring to you though.
He's talking about. He's basically saying that don't be happy with how we played today. This is how I'm hearing it anyway. Okay. Don't be happy with how we played today because of the win percentage over the whole season. You know, when you want your team. Whether you're a manager, a player or a fan, you want your team to start improving and start playing better. You know, you've got to start somewhere. And today they played a bit better today, and it just might be the start of improvement. You know what I mean?
The patience is going. That's the issue. That's the issue because when I'd watched the game, I walked out here, I was pretty annoyed that we'd lost again. You came in, Ricky. You said, "Well, what's up with you?" Because I was down, weren't I? And I said, "I'm just sick of losing." And you said something like, we're not losing very often. And I said, well, I'm sick of dropping points. And you were like, we played well. And I was like, I know we did, but I'm just sick of dropping points. It's so frustrating. But this is the thing, if that performance came after we beat Liverpool at Anfield the week after, people would be a bit more accepting of it if it wasn't the first game of the season. People would be more accepting of it. We lost to a 10-man Everton. We drew to West Ham, who were absolutely
and they
terrible.
were all crap performances.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. That was a little bit better today.
Yeah.
We played well against Bournemouth.
It was, but it's a build-up of drop points and people have peed off with it.
Yeah, and that's why on the Monday night after the Bournemouth game, for the neutral, absolute thriller, 4-all. But we're looking at it, and from analysing it and looking at it, you're saying we cannot be conceding 4 goals, at home to Bournemouth. It's the same way we're scoring 4 goals, but we're not winning that game at home. It is not good enough. But in terms of the actual performance that evening, it was, again, it's just fine lines, little mistakes that we made, but we still scored 4 goals that evening. So we will sit there and go, actually, for parts of that game, we actually played well.
The way we played today, we deserved our equaliser when we got it. We also would have deserved our equaliser if Cunha would have put his header in. We were playing well enough at that time and we're on top of the game.
And we're not for 1 minute sitting here and being deluded as to say that was a great performance and we accept that. Of course, deep down, you know what I mean? When we're watching it and that goal flies in and Cunha misses that chance and we're all like, for God's sake, of course but we've got to sit here and do a fan forum, so you have to come out and you do have to find some positives. There's no point of sitting here and all just going mental about it. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, I wish we just had more edge. I wish we were a bit more cutthroat in certain situations, but I understand Villa are on a good run. But speaking of which, Cunha, very big name today in all of the group chats, in all the Manchester United chats that people are having around the world in the community. What did we make of Cunha's performance? Because he was involved a lot today. I think
it's very good. I think with Cunha, he naturally plays well when he has more responsibility. Because that's just how he's been for the last how many years he's been at Wolves. Obviously at the top flight as well. He's been the kind of player where people rely on him and people look to him for something. And that's when he plays better, that's when he provides, and that's when he actually steps up and you can see his game get a little bit better. But my only thing with Cunha is, he is playing with decent players around him. Maybe at Wolves, he can have an argument that he was just a level above everybody else, but there are other players around him which he can trust more, and he might not understand that yet because it's still early in his United career, but there are times I'm thinking, just lay it off, or just pass it here, or you're carrying it a little bit too long, and if he has that trust in other players, he is going to do it, because I think if he was playing next to Mbumo, if he was playing next to somebody else in the team, he might think, you know what, I know he can do similar to what I can do, so I'm going to give the ball out to him more often than I might give to somebody else, because we might not think players do that, but they definitely do. It's human nature. If you have more trust in a player, you're going to give him the ball more. So I think as great of a player he is, I think the one thing, if I was going to give any kind of criticism, is I think he just needs to trust the players around him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of occasions where you're like, lay it off, or maybe a pass instead of an outlandish shot, especially in a keeper like Martinez, who is probably going to save it. However, that's part of his game. He is a little bit like that sometimes. He's a bit erratic, and that, in some occasions, can make him so good. He takes the game by the scruff of its neck. And,
a bit like Bruno.
Yeah, a little bit. He's a main man. He's a main man, and I thought today was one of his best performances in a United shirt, to be honest with you. I thought he was really, really good. Faded a bit in the second half, but overall, really good. And I want to see more performances like that. I can take sometimes a shot when he should pass. I can take him maybe holding on to it for a bit too long if overall that 80% of the things he's doing are good. And that's how I felt about his performance today.
I agree, but I don't think you'll get very far with them kind of players in your team. With players that think about themselves a little bit more, a bit too much more than other players. You see someone like Bruno, like you can say all you want about Bruno, but Bruno genuinely wants to actually provide for other players. Like he wants to pass it sometimes a bit too much. I think that's what we criticise him for sometimes. But I think when you've got a player in your team who thinks a bit too much about what they want to do, and Amram said it himself, this isn't even speculating, Amram said himself that sometimes because of stats and GA and whatever, he's trying to score goals or he's trying to do something a bit more than what he normally would try and do. And I don't think, you look at the top teams, like what selfish players do Arsenal have? What selfish players do City have? Everyone's playing for each other. Even if they might be top world-class players, they're all playing for each other. Same with Liverpool. You can say what you want about Salah. Salah's a creative player. He plays for everybody else. Obviously this season's not doing the greatest, but in general. So I think if you want to have a team that is going to be title contending team, you can't have a player in there who's thinking, I need to get a goal today, or I need to be the main man today in today's game. I think everyone has to play for each other for the whole game. But he does have the quality to do that. But I think right now in the team, with the way how we're performing and the way how we're playing, he does maybe have that mentality of, I might have to save this game myself, because he doesn't trust everybody else around him as much.
I thought he was the only one today, that, especially when Bruno went off, I thought if anyone in that team could step up, it was going to be him. And I totally agree with Mordzs. You know, when you look at him at Wolves, he was the main man. It's different coming to United. We're under no illusion that this club, you know, we talk about standards, whatever, it's a difficult team to come into. And no disrespect to Wolves, but it's just a total different animal altogether. The spotlight is on you, you know, you are... At the same time, I would echo what Mordzs has said. You know, there's some instances where I think he can be doing better. You know, pass the ball. You know, you find he's one of them players, a bit like Bruno, where you start shouting at the telly. You know, what was your famous clip? Pass it to Dorgu. Pass it to... Was it that clip where you were like, pass the ball? Pass it. What was it? Give it Dorgu. Give it Dorgu. You do find him with that.
Give it
Mazraoui.
that
Was it. Give it Mazraoui. Give it Mazraoui. And he's
Just
the same.
give it Mazraoui.
Just give it bloody Mazraoui. Exactly the same, but I do think in the long term it's something that can be curbed and made more into a kind of a team player. He's going to have to be in that role. You cannot be wasteful.
Interesting
in
stuff.
possession.
Yeah. Well, super chatting from Sakaya saying, trust the process, Ruben Amorim is the guy. Fear of Godvin says, can't expect more from Sesko if you provide him with Hail Marys, through balls with a defender on him, and tens would rather shoot than give a tap in. The Moose one says, the counter-attack is useless, no leaders. Ziraz says, what start of improvement, Ricky? We're going in circles for 10 years, and actually, ever since Ineos, things are getting worse. Change my mind.
Obviously, over the length of time, we're getting worse and worse and worse, without any shadow of a doubt. But each and every game that you watch, you've got to hope that your team can start playing a bit of football, and obviously you want stronger, better players. You want your players to make right decisions. But I just felt that watching that game today, we played a bit better football than we normally play. Simple as that.
Yeah. That's the only way I can look at it. Yeah.
Jimmy Joson, thank you for your super chat. Daniel Thompson says, hope you're well, Beth Mordzs, Ricky. Kev, great show as ever. Disappointing result. I'll say it on X on Christmas Eve, but hope you all have a brilliant Christmas. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, Daniel. Muad says, how are you guys not depressed covering Manchester United? The reason I'm not is because I'm hoping owners sell the club due to no Europe for 2 seasons in a row at this rate. Jack Davis says, Amorim benched Kobe again and his head has completely gone. Well, that's Ricky's theory, but we'll see in the coming weeks, won't we, if he's back in the team or what happens. His competitor for his place, according to Ruben Amorim, is now injured in Bruno, who never gets injured. Let's see what happens to Kobe. But anyway, guys, man of the match.
I will say Mateus Cunha.
Does that have to be a United player?
Yeah, it's got to be a United player. It's got to be a United player.
No Lindelof for you, Ricky.
You know what? I don't think he's man of the match, but I just like what he did, Martinez.
Yeah.
That's not a bad shout. I'll agree with that, yeah. I'll go with Martinez.
That's when you know he's playing well in midfield, because I don't think Ricky's ever give Martinez man of the match. I'll go with Cunha as well. I thought Cunha was pretty good today. But look, let me know what you guys think. Next game will be on Boxing Day. What are we predicting? Quick fire, win, lose or draw.
I'll say draw.
I win.
I'll go draw.
I'll go draw as well. I really want to say win, but I'm just struggling.
I might change it midweek, but we'll see.
I'm struggling. Yeah, we'll see. But look, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for staying with us on this Sunday evening. I mean, I will see you before Christmas, but if, we don't see you then, and this is the last fans forum before Christmas, so a very Merry Christmas to all of you guys in the community, whether you're celebrating or not. A Merry Christmas from us at the United Stand Fans Forum. Yeah. We have got a few games. I think we've got 2 more games before the New Year, so we don't need to wish a Happy New Year yet. But Christmas is creeping up on us. Crazy, guys.
Can't wait.
Rapidly.
We all excited?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Just check on Nigel after the showcase.
Yeah, well,
please.
I'll give him a text after this.
Please check on
just
Nigel.
check in.
Yeah, but anyway.
To say, I don't know.
Christmas coming up now.
He doesn't like Christmas either. He
does he not?
He is a bit like Scrooge or the Grinch. Yeah. Well, as you can tell by the comment that he said, yeah, another day closer to death, mate.
Bless him. Anyway, hopefully
know.
another day closer to a United win. Do you know what I mean? But let's see what happens.
More like it.
Thank you everyone for watching. Merry Christmas. Smash a like on the video and we'll see you on the next one.